Hey, welcome back to the show. Today we are talking about some of the biggest myths and misconceptions that keep us, so many of us, especially women like you and me, from getting into real estate investing. Honestly, I used to believe a lot of these myself. I remember starting out and I'm like, okay, I can do this. I've seen other people do it, but I'm not really sure. I think that there was just so many requirements that are required or that are needed. I don't think that I can ever get started. So in this episode, we're going to dig deep. We'll bust through the myths that keep real estate feeling out of reach and just too risky. And trust me, we're not just pulling this out of the thin air. I'll be throwing in a few real life examples, and even some articles that helped me open my eyes when I was getting started. So, I remember when I first considered real estate, I thought I needed a pile of cash, a ton of extra time, and a fancy finance degree to even think about it. I was well into my career juggling family work, and honestly, even though I have been a realtor for over 15 years, the whole thing just felt too big. I had helped so many people buy investment properties, sell them, rent them out, all of the things. It was like the world. It just felt like even though I was helping those folks, I didn't think that I was deserving, or I had limiting beliefs thinking that, for some reason I couldn't do it or whatever. I was literally ready to walk away from my first deal because I felt it was too risky. It was like, there was all these things, all of the red flags that could go wrong, the things that the financing, I paid cash, but I also was like, well, how am I going to do the repairs and all the things? And it was just like, wait a minute. I need to go ahead and step out of this comfort zone. I was already just thinking and knowing that I couldn't go back to where I used to be, and I didn't want to mess with, what I had already established. And to be honest, it wasn't something that was tremendous at that time, but I knew that I was growing and I knew that I was going places, and I knew that I needed to go ahead and get out of my comfort zone to ever get to the next level. So, you know what changed my mind? Really meeting other women just like me, right? Women who look like me and shared my story. They were in it. They were doing it. They were, buying strip malls. I remember meeting this one woman. She was like, "Oh, well, I own a strip mall and I rent it out." Met another woman who did storage units. Then I realized, okay, maybe I can go ahead and make this happen. And that's when I really just go ahead and got it started, right? So, one of the first myths that you will hear is that you need a ton of money to get started. When you think about real estate, you think about it's for the wealthy too, right? So it turns out that's not 100% true. I came across this article on BiggerPockets from Woman to Woman. There is no reason to be intimidated by real estate investing. You all can check it out, and I will go ahead and leave it in the show notes. And it just clicked. Ashley was talking about, she was sharing her story and how it all started out without a huge amount of cash. She started with real estate investing, and she was just telling her story about how she was leveraging finances and other resourcing to go ahead and get things started so that she wouldn't have to save up forever. And it just clicked for me. I was like, I needed to hear somebody else doing it for me to feel like, okay, this is something that I can do. Then some of the other real estate myths that I've heard is, yes, real estate is risky. Real estate is just too risky. Jasmine, I've heard people lose their shirts, lose their properties, lose their all. I don't think that's for me. Yes, real estate can be risky, but it doesn't have to be a gamble. You can build the stability right into your approach. I remember reading this article on the Real Estate Investor site. In fact, I was actually speaking on their stage a couple years ago now, and I've been on their podcast. Liz and Andressa are awesome. I mean, they taught me a lot in the beginning, but they talked about managing risk and avoiding common mistakes. I actually spoke on their podcast, and I was telling them how when I first started and I was trying to manage what I needed to do, I was overwhelmed. My aunt sat me down and she broke down this framework called the 4Ds. So it was do, delegate, drop, or delay. And basically, I had to make a choice. I had to make a decision. Like, am I going to go ahead and stick to this, or am I just going to go ahead and, like, throw this away? And when I was talking to them on podcast, they were telling me that I'm not the only one, right? So, real estate, I think that we kind of feel like we are sitting on this island. We're the only ones that want to break these generational curses, all the things. And that's just not it. But what we have to realize is that we can go ahead and succeed in this space, but we have to go ahead and just get out of the comfort zone and get things started. So, the other myth that I hear is only the financially elite succeed. So I was actually teaching a class a couple nights ago, and someone said, well, I thought that the only way for you to get wealthy was for you to go ahead and inherit that wealth, right? And I'm like, no, right? That's what really hit hard for me, because it's a story that we're often told. We're told that you can't do it. Only, rich white men with suitcases or briefcases can get this done. You have to inherit it. You have to inherit some money, come into some money, all the things. And I have honestly seen women from all backgrounds building wealth through real estate. And it's not about just having a ton of money. It's about persistence. It's about reaching out and leaning in on your community and the willingness to learn. That article that I was talking about on women shaping the real estate investing industry gives a powerful example of how women like you and me are breaking down those old stereotypes. And you really have to go ahead and just know for yourself. I used to spend my time, a ton of time, just going ahead and being on Netflix and being on social media, just scrolling and doing the doom scroll. And until I really opened up my mind, opened up the blogs, opened up podcasts like this one to go ahead and just open up what the possibilities are. I just lived in my box, right? And you only know what you're exposed to. So really step outside of your box, because again, you may feel like, okay, in my circle, I don't have anybody that's super rich, but there are everyday people becoming millionaires using real estate, and it can be you. So the last myth that I always get is you have to be some sort of real estate expert. One of the biggest myths inside of this, like a little subject, is that people feel like you have to be a realtor in order to be a real estate investor, and that's just not true. In fact, if I had to do it all over again and I know what I know now, I may have not even gone the realtor path, simply because I know what I know now. I know how to manage, I know how to do all the things, and I probably wouldn't have chosen the path that I did. I thank God every day that I did, because that was what God's will was. However, when I think about some of the things or some of the limiting mindsets that I had concerning this, it really just started to shape some things like, maybe it's not. And again, a lot of people think, I get that all the time. Oh, Jasmine, I took my real estate license. I become licensed, like all the things. Like, wait a minute, you don't necessarily need this. And when I got started, I didn't know everything, right? Even though I was a realtor for so many years, I was helping people, but I was really like kind of, fishing in the dark, just kind of feeling my way through, because I knew that I could go ahead and get this done. But I also knew that if I didn't, if, I could make a big mistake and lose a lot of money too, right? And so I didn't know a lot when I got started, and really none of us do, right? The key is mentorship and community. I had mentors when I first started out, not necessarily mentors that looked like me, but I had, other investor friends that were just willing to go ahead and let me tag along. And with that, I was able to learn. But even with that, without having like a direct mentor or a coach that I was actually getting through, I still was a little lost. And so another great read is on auction.com, and it's titled Women Breaking New Ground in Real Estate Investors. They highlight women who just took the leap and figured out it as they went along, right? And that real estate journey can really be room for you to grow. So I know that you're just like, all right, Jazz, this is your podcast. You just coming back. What's going on? I want to go ahead and just bless you all with some free resources so that you all can go ahead and get back in the groove. I will be honest. I took some time to myself to try to figure out what direction I was going into. I took a break from actually being a realtor for some years, and when I tell you that was a big mistake, because that was my main source of income, and because of that, I have been just trying to kind of figure out my way back into where I need to be. I've been doing a ton of soul searching, a ton of pivoting, a ton of trying to figure out all of the moves. And I don't have it all figured out. I won't tell you that lie. But what I am willing to do is go ahead and make sure that you don't go down the same paths and experience a lot of what I had experienced being and feeling like I'm on my own. And so I want you to go ahead and move forward with what you want to do. I know you are listening to this because you're like, all right, what does she have to say? What word can I hear to go ahead and invest in real estate? And believe me, girl, I'm looking for a word myself. But what I can say is that God does not make any mistakes. And because of that, I am walking in this affirmation, walking into this purpose. I know that I am supposed to be and go through all of that I've gone through in order to be a testimony. So if you are thinking some of these myths are holding you back, you could be thinking like, yeah, Jess, you are really hitting it. I really do believe set your goals and let's go ahead and get started, right? I have included a freebie in order for you to download. And when you think about the myths that are holding you back, let's go ahead and talk about it, right? You want to go ahead and set your goals and assess your starting point. Take a minute to think about what your financial goals are, especially as we move into the new year and really where your current situation is. A lot of people don't like to do this with me. They're like, girl, just tell me the tips and the tricks and all the things. And what I could tell you is that there are no tips and tricks. There is only the hard work and the things that you need to do in order to get this done. So think about it. Real estate is for all stages, but clarity is really key. Right? So find the resources. Of course, the mentorship, if I can be of any service to you and give you any types of gem, I would definitely say that you want to go ahead and find a mentor, even if it's not me, someone who can tell you and guide you on and maybe just a few steps ahead of where you are or where you're trying to go, so that they can go ahead and show you like, girl, don't do this, but do that. Don't go at this alone. Seek the resources and the mentors who can break it down in a way that makes sense. I am actually in a few weeks, I'm going to be releasing a new program called Cash Flow Confidence, and it's going to give a really clear and accessible roadmap. But until then, go ahead and just think about who in your life is doing what you want to do. And even outside of real estate, do you want to lose weight? Do you want to be a better cook? Do you want to become a better wife? Like, what does that look like? Do you want to raise more thriving children? Like, what does that look like? And I promise you, once you actually take those steps, then life will feel a little bit better, right? Look for manageable, lower risk properties to learn the ropes, right? Take on a partner, be open to what may happen. So like I said, to get you started, I put together a free real estate myths busted guide. It's quick. It's a quick PDF that debunks all of the things, all the myths that you may be having, and gives you a few clear steps on how to move forward confidently. Download it through the link in the description and start busting through those misconceptions. All right. So real estate can feel this big, intimidating. It feels like this really big, intimidating world, right? I'm here to tell you that it's our world, right? So as Black women, as women that really move into this space, we are going to be really the most powerful. We are the most organized. We are the most determined. We are the most assertive. We check all the boxes. We just have to move into this space as though we deserve it. The myths are just barriers, and we're just going to knock it down together. You've got the vision, you've got the drive, and now let's go ahead and get you the knowledge so you can support to make it real. I'll catch you in the next episode, and I can't wait to hear some of the myths that and doors that you're plowing through, so that you can go ahead and get started in real estate. Talk to you soon.